Hello, let's do Wordle for Friday, November 7th. And yesterday we spun the wheel. Yes, please stop telling me about that. Yesterday we spun the wheel and it picked Calcle. So let's see how that does for us today. All right, actually this is pretty good because we learned that there's exactly one L. We know that there's not another L. This is probably one of the best results we could have gotten other than maybe a K or a V. And then the E is somewhere. It makes me think we're an EL word, like level. Oh, we can't repeat the L though, but we can't do the V either. But something like that? Or are we just going to do like an E second and then eventually have an L? Let's think about the common letters that are left. STRN. Can we use any of these? Or are we already too restricted? Because ending in L but not double L is a little restricted. We're going to need a vowel before that L almost certainly. Other than snarl, which is the only one I can think of that doesn't do that, but it doesn't have an E in it. EL is reasonable. We could also do like an EIL or an EAL. Regal. I think regal gets us on the right track at least. Renal is even better because it gets the N. Renal is like kidney related. All right, no N. ER something L, like feral, but that's A. Does anything go ERIL? Or do we repeat the E? Let's not repeat the E yet. Merrill, barrel. What about Y? I think, isn't barrel something? I don't know. For some reason, my mind's telling me that barrel is a word. I don't think it's going to be an answer, though, is it? Because I don't know what it is. OL? Peril. How about peril? Peril is good. For some reason, putting the O, because it kind of sounds more O-like peril than the I. I don't know, in my accent at least. You know what? Peril was the answer too. Okay. Well, I got it in 3. Calcle actually worked out very well today. Calcle worked well. All right. Cool. They've kind of changed the layout a little bit on this. Interesting. All right. Well, let's see how let's spin the wheel. That's what we're doing. Sorry. My mind's everywhere. We're going to spin the wheel and see what we're starting with tomorrow. Well, Zyla's on the wheel 3 times. And this time it's arch nemesis. It's amazing how often Zyla's been picked. Like, I feel like this wheel is being biased towards awful words. But we do what the wheel says. So we're starting with Xylil tomorrow. All right, again. Arch Nemesis is getting quite a bit out of their membership here. All right, well, now let's check with the bot and see how we did. So let's see. The answer was peril, and I started with Calcle. There were 47 words left, pedal being the best guess here. Not immediately clear why, but who knows. Still a 2.787 guesses left. I had a request to explain what this bot is doing. So first of all, it is a much more sophisticated algorithm than the kind of naive algorithm that the official Wordle bot does. The official Wordle bot just looks and sees, okay, how does this word split up the remaining answers? So, and then the average number of answers remaining is what it bases that off of. Now, the problem is that's a horrible metric in hard mode for certain cases because you can walk right into traps. And in fact, it loses on some traps. By a trap, I mean like ending in ULLY, right? It'll have no problem going straight for, say, fully when there's a bunch of ULLY words left. And then now it's stuck in a trap because it's not looking ahead. This bot looks ahead and it actually plays through games very, very quickly. And it goes based on how many guesses are left rather than how many average words are left after that guess. So instead of saying, hey, after pedal, we're splitting it up nice and evenly, so the average number of words left from the 47 is 10 or 8 or something like that. So that's a really good one. Instead, it's saying, hey, if I play pedal, then in the games that I simulated, we had less than 2.787 guesses left on average. And so we want to minimize the guesses. That's what we're trying to do in Wordle. So that makes more sense. Anyway, So that's what this number means. And it's less than equal because that means it did not fully simulate all games. And so it's an estimate. It's the best that it found. So if we gave it more time to simulate, we might get a more accurate result, but it uses certain heuristics to push the good ones to the top anyway. All right. I guessed renal. Renal is on the list. It's at 2.851. So not quite as good as the top guess, but still pretty good. And you know what? We were down to barrel or peril, and barrel is a word. So what do you know? That might actually be the answer one day. Let's look up what it means. Not beryllium, barrel. It's a mineral composed of beryllium and aluminum silicate. Known for its gemstones like emerald and aquamarine. Ah, so emerald and aquamarine are barrels. Okay, cool. So I picked peril because I did not think barrel would be an answer, but apparently it is a potential answer. So there we go. There was also coral, merrill, and merrill. All right. I've probably seen barrel in crosswords, to be honest. That's probably where I've seen it. It goes petal, which then it's only peril. So it gets it in 3, but it didn't have to choose between peril and barrel, so it's slightly better. All right, we're going to check. Now, what I do is I just go through words that a lot of people start with. The first thing is tails. It's the Salé anagram that... This has so many anagrams. There's slate and Salé and tails and least and steel and probably others. And this is the anagram, and they're all very, very good. But this is the anagram it prefers in hard mode based on its simulations. And that was fully simulated offline. So that's why here it doesn't have a less than equal, because we're starting with tails. It knows every single game the perfect guess to make, and exactly the average guess is left. So it goes boule here, B-O-U-L-E. And then it goes leery, and leery splits up all 9 perfectly, which is crazy. And then it goes peril from there. So it gets it in 4. Now, if you want a Salé anagram that has not been the answer yet and probably will be the answer someday, steel is the one to start with. And it has fully simulated this as well. It goes bevel. And from there, we only have peril. That would be very hard to think of, though. So it gets it in 3. All right. Now, adieu is just a very popular start, but it is not a very good starting word. It's not horrible, but it's ranked like 40. There are 39 better words. People like that it has all the vowels. I personally don't like getting rid of all the vowels at the start because it really limits what you can follow up with. It makes it harder to think of good words that use other common letters. In this case, with the E and the I, it's going relit. So that's fine. From relit, peril is the only answer. So it gets in 3. Audio is just strictly worse than adieu because the U is worse. It doesn't get the E. The E is the most common vowel and it doesn't get it. It uses the O instead. But it still goes relit and then peril. So it did make a difference for this solve. And then trace from an early analysis I did had the highest chance to get it in 2, but it's not the best starting word. It's going to go rens. So here I'm going to do ultra, which will only pick things that, even with ultra, it's not picked. Okay. Perky. Let's go this resin here, I suppose. And then kefir, which has been the answer before, and then peril. Kefir is a kind of like yogurty drink. All right. So it gets it in 3. And then, by the way, from trace, the reason I didn't pick the top option is the reason to start with trace is to try to get it in 2. So you should guess something that could be the answer. So that's why we go the resin. Anyway, that's special for trace. And then place is what the hard mode bot seems to, what the official bot seems to start with in hard mode. Almost certainly peril or pixel. So I bet you the bot gets it in 2. I think it's going to pick peril over pixel, but we'll see. All right. Well, speaking of, let's check the bot. So did I beat the bot? Skill 96. It liked my guesses quite a bit. Luck is 79. And then 3 is below average. Nice. So Cavell. So here's, let's see. Here. It actually tells me how many people in hard mode started with Cavell. So we have 25 people, and I'm recording this pretty early. 25 people also start with Cavell. So a lot of my viewers are starting with the same word. So I'm enjoying that. What are people following up with? Panel, repel, model, hotel, rebel, towel. Petal is what the bot does. And one person actually did do that. Actual steps to solve. A lot of these solve it right away. Pearl and Bagel. So renal, no one else picked. But renal worked out as pretty well too. Panel, interesting that panel is the one. I mean, you're basically thinking it's EL is what all of these are doing. And for some reason, I didn't think of any of these. And so I ended up doing E second and got renal. I mostly just thought about the common letters. I always do that for guess two, especially when I start with one that doesn't grab all the common letters. I had two words to pick them and picked the correct one. So it agrees that barrel was an option. All right, it does get in a 2, place peril. That's what I thought. 86 luck. All right, Cavell is at less than 0.1. Peril, 0.3% of people are starting with peril. And we have a greater than 99% solve rate. I mean, it's a relatively common word. It has only common letters in it. So losing on Eerie. How do you lose on Eerie in hard mode? And the answer is peril. You have the E and the I only? No, you have ERI. Wonder if there's an ERI trap. Maybe it was narrowed down to ERI and it was on guess 6. And Eerie was picked over peril. Seems to be what happened. These are all less than 0.1, so these are probably one person each. Xerox as your last guess? Like, how does that even happen? ER only? I don't know. All right. Well, how'd you do? And that is it for Wordle. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to watch the New York Times games, you can click at the end of the video. It'll take you right there. And if you enjoyed this, why don't leave a like, subscribe, and a kind comment below.